Although the true purpose of the 150 contingency orders set in place for the clone troopers were truly sinister in their inception, Palpatine and those under his direct command and control in the Senate were able to sell the contingency orders to the Jedi in a way that they were willing to accept them in. In many ways, it was ultimately the fine print that ended up killing the Jedi, as they were aware of Order 66 as a High Council, but had agreed to use the order under very extreme circumstances, and failed to do the appropriate research on the order before agreeing to it. In the Republic Commando series, this was the exact wording of Order 66 to the clone troopers, as well as the Jedi, and within this exact description, the fatal flaws that ended up killing the Jedi can appear. Quote, in the event of Jedi officers acting against the interests of the Republic, and after receiving specific orders verified as coming directly from the Supreme Chancellor, GAR commanders will remove those officers by lethal force, and command of the GAR will revert to the Supreme Chancellor until a new command structure is established. The reason the Jedi agreed to this is they believed that Order 66 would only be used under very specific circumstances, and would not be put into effect against the entire Jedi Order, rather specific Jedi that could go rogue during the Clone Wars. In the Jedi's mind, it would never be enacted on the Order itself, just a few Jedi who might go rogue. Order 66 was described to the Jedi as being a contingency order set in place to allow the clone troopers to act against any of their Jedi generals who could have defected to the other side, or even fallen to the dark side of the Force. The order was set in place that the clones could use lethal force on the Jedi, as it would be deemed acceptable. An example of this, although it was never officially put in place, would be the clone troopers acting against Pong Krell, who had fallen to the dark side and was slaughtering clone troopers needlessly. This would have been the perfect time to enact Order 66 by Supreme Chancellor, although the order never came. The statement that lethal force was necessary was due to the idea that no clone squad could ever hope to detain a Jedi Knight without using lethal force, as the Jedi would be able to seamlessly and easily escape and evade their tactics. The key thing that truly sealed the fate of all the Jedi Knights, though, was that Palpatine was the only one who could activate Order 66, a fact that the Jedi seemingly overlooked, as they were clouded by the very Republic they served, as well as the dark side of the Force. Order 66 was in fact the only contingency order that could be activated solely by one individual, that individual being Palpatine. Palpatine had access to various secret comm channels and required no go-ahead or confirmation from any other source to enact Order 66, even the Senate or other Jedi. This was perfectly described in the Order 66 novel, where it better explains why the Jedi knew and fully agreed to the terms of Order 66, and yet why it was so devastating towards them and why it hit them so hard. Quote, if we were given one word of information in our entire history, how we'd treasure it, how we'd pore over every syllable, divining its meaning, arguing its importance, how we'd examine it, wring every lesson we could from it. Yet today, we have trillions of words, tidal waves of information, and the smallest detail of every action our government and businesses take is easily available to us at the touch of a button. And yet, we ignore it and learn nothing from it. One day, we'll die of voluntary ignorance. As stated before, Order 66 was meant to be used on a single Jedi, or if necessary, a group of Jedi who fell to the dark side of the Force, but the Jedi Order never fathomed that it could be turned against them in such a fashion, and used against the entirety of the Jedi Order. This other quote from the Order 66 novel also explains how Palpatine was able to pull this off, and how he was able to trick the Jedi to such an extent. Quote, it's entirely possible that the Jedi's increasingly clouded vision was a result of their own moral degeneration. They'd let so many of their principles slip that the reason they couldn't see the dark side was so close to them was the lack of sharp contrast with themselves. Like trying to see a gray nerf in fog. They turned off the light themselves. So what are your thoughts on this, and the fact that the Jedi not only knew of Order 66 and its details, but also agreed to it, and agreed to fight next to soldiers that could turn on them and slaughter them all in an instant of betrayal, which of course they would ultimately do. I'm extremely interested to hear all of your thoughts on this video, and how the Jedi actually did know about Order 66, and even agreed to it prior. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed and want to help the channel out, be sure to hit the like button. If you would like to see more Star Wars explanation videos and stay up to date with all the Star Wars news from The Last Jedi to Star Wars Rebels, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to turn on notifications to see everything as soon as it comes out, and to make sure that you become a living holocron today. If you would like to get in direct contact with me, follow me on Twitter, where we discuss all things Star Wars and debate with one another on the various topics concerning the universe. If you have any video ideas you want to see explored, leave them in the comments below the video with hashtag suggestion at the end of your comment so I can find it better. If you do end up leaving a suggestion, I really appreciate it and hope to one day make a full video dedicated to your question or suggested topic. Thanks again just for simply watching the video and your continued support on this Star Wars journey. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.